Dear friends, it's Debbie Polisky. I hope you guys are doing great. I am, and today we have a great true story. It's a wake-up call that made me lose 55 pounds or lose my life. And I'm here with Jerry Jefferson. He's a fitness instructor with over 18 years of experience, and he's also the owner of Living Fit Today in Surprise, Arizona. Well, Jerry, your story is fascinating because you use your own experience in weight loss to become a fitness instructor who teaches all kinds of modalities. Well, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Debbie. I'm glad to be here today.
And I just love this because you mentioned to me you had this wake-up call, something happened in your life, and suddenly you said, yes, I'm going to start losing weight. I'm going to start taking care of my health. Tell us this story.
Well, many years ago, I was working at a hospital, and I was overweight, didn't eat very well, and I had a terrible headache and tremors. And the nurse that I work with, she says, you need to go over and we'll take your blood pressure. And my blood pressure was some outrageous amount. The numbers I can't even remember, but it was enough that she sent me to the emergency room, which was only downstairs. I was quite lucky.
Wow. And Jerry, how old were you at that time?
I was 38 years old.
Wow.
I was 38 years old.
So that must have been kind of scary.
It was kind of scary because I thought, I am not old enough for these kinds of problems. Because the doctor told me, he said that because of my age, I had a terrible headache. But had I been older or in a little worse off shape, I would have had a stroke more than likely. And I thought, I'm too young to have a stroke. So when I went to my doctor, my personal doctor, he said to me very bluntly, he said, do you want to die? And I said, no. And he says, then you need to lose weight, you need to get active, and you need to change your lifestyle. Well, of course, I left his office thinking, why didn't he tell me that before? But I'm sure today I realize he had probably been telling me that for quite a while, but of course I didn't want to hear it.
Of course, and this was kind of that wake-up call, because sometimes we need that. It's terrible, but our body's telling us, okay, Jerry, it's time to wake up, or... So what happened then? How much were you weighing at that moment?
Well, at the time, I weighed about 210 pounds at the time.
Okay.
It was pretty big. But my biggest problem was not so much that my weight, but because I was unconditioned, most of it was body fat. So one of the biggest problems was that my fat was just so high that it was very difficult for me to even get up and move. But I was quite lucky. When I got home, my daughter, who's quite codependent, she was dying to go to the gym. So she said, Dad, we have to go to the gym. We got to go do something.
So at that time, you weren't doing anything, right? Just eating all kinds of things? Or what was your food style? What was the lifestyle?
As I like to say, when you go to lunch and the people at McDonald's know what you want when you come in the door, then you've gone way too much.
Oh, that's true. I like that.
So,
Right.
So that was what I ate. I ate junk morning. I ate junk at night. My favorite breakfast was biscuits and gravy with white gravy, and of course a large soda, and exactly.
Right, which is, the usual lifestyle, right? Because usually we don't have breakfast, or we do, but we're in a rush, right? Stress, and we don't have time. That's our main excuse. Have no time for, good eating or planning. So what happened then? So it seems like your daughter was the one that kind of motivated or pushed you. Come on, Dad, let's start going to the gym.
My daughter motivated me to get to the gym. I went to the gym, and in the beginning it was very, very difficult. It was so hard. But I was inspired.
By who or by whom?
Well, because I saw people that were older than me that were there, and they were showing up. People that were bigger than me, then they were showing up, and they'd show up every week, because my thought of the gym before that was bodybuilders and young, strong-looking people, and I thought, well, I'd be embarrassed. But I had come to a point where I was more afraid of dying than I was of being embarrassed.
So your doctor really gave you, that shock, but it really helped you, right? Because sometimes we say, oh, don't be so dramatic, but those words really hit you this time.
Exactly. But with my daughter, I went, and we went every week, and we just kept going.
And what would you guys do, or what did you start, maybe walking?
We started out in the water aerobics class.
Oh, that's great.
Because I was a little too heavy to do anything else.
Okay.
And from there, I progressed and took step class and high-low aerobics class and things like that. And I started to have a lot of fun. And then I had one teacher, after I had lost maybe 10 or 12 pounds, who said, you're always here. You should do this.
Wow. So meaning you were always there. How many times a week did you go?
I was there 4 or 5 days a week.
Oh,
yeah.
So what started swimming, water aerobics, then you started all these other modalities?
I tried other things to see what I liked, So.
And so that instructor kind of motivated you maybe to think like a new career?
Yeah, she said, well, you have so much fun, you should try this. And so I thought, of course, no, there's no way. I, don't have the body for it. I still was pretty big. And, but she convinced me to try it, and I tried, and I was pretty good.
Wow! So what did you start? You became a group instructor? What was your first step?
Very first was group instruction, and I taught a class called Kwando, which is like kickboxing.
Oh, wow. That sounds difficult.
It's a cardio class, but it was a lot of fun. But I used to be a dancer in another life, so musicality was never a big problem. I'm good with the music.
Right, so you always loved dance, choreography, music. Okay, so you were kind of inspired to go back to those roots you had and a different modality.
Exactly.
And what about your nutrition? Was your daughter also like your support system or inspiration at home with the food?
Well, my daughter was, because I had to change my food. So, of course, when I changed mine, that meant everyone in the house had to change theirs.
Oh, that's nice. So the whole family changed.
Exactly. Everyone had to change.
And that's great, Terry, because, many times, I meet with people who have a hard time maintaining a good lifestyle because at home they don't have that good support system. So they feel, kind of singled out, like this is my meal and, I have to cook this and you guys eat something else.
Exactly.
You didn't feel that way. You all ate the same healthy.
All ate the same healthy way. And it was quite a change.
Yeah, tell us, what was a day or even now, what's kind of like a food intake for you, or at that time?
Well, at that time, I had a lot of things that I had to increase. One, I had to add more vegetables, greens into my diet. I took away fried food, so I haven't eaten fried food in forever.
Wow.
Nothing fried. Added just more beans and things that are a little more healthy.
With protein, what did you?
Protein. But I had to come up with a few things that I learned from some people around me, and one was I learned to eat slower.
Oh, that's a big thing. I always teach people, mindfulness, right? Mindful eating, right? Because about 90% of the people, they're so distracted doing 2-3 things at the same time. So eating slow really helped you.
Eating slow helped, and eating at a time that was appropriate time. In other words, I had to make a schedule.
Okay.
I needed structure. That's basically the problem. I had no structure before. So structure was a real help for me.
Structure. And you didn't have structure before because you didn't make the time to have structure, or
it wasn't important before.
Right. It wasn't a priority.
It wasn't a priority. Before, I could take a 2-pound bag of nuts and turn on the TV, and before my show was over, the bag was empty.
Right. And so that's the mindless eating piece, right? That we're eating, like I tell people, eating distracted, watching TV with our cell phone. We're so busy with social media and munching the movies. I don't know if that happened to you, eating popcorn and movies, and you've got this whole big box of popcorn that disappears.
Yeah. So that's something that even today I still do. When we eat at home, we sit down and we eat it at the table at home. And we don't eat, we may eat a dessert after, but generally a dessert for us is a cup of yogurt or fruit or something like that.
Something sweet, but something sweet that's natural.
Something that's natural. Right. Right.
How did you incorporate, because many times people ask me, I have to eat, like you say, more vegetables, more greens. How did you incorporate more greens, right? How did you replace all the junky and the fat foods and that, more greens and vegetables? Because not everyone likes vegetables.
Well, I didn't too much like vegetables either. That was the thing,
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like vegetables either, but I kind of thought of them as medicine.
Oh, okay.
I don't like taking medicine either, but if I need it, then I suck it up and I take it. So the same with the vegetables. But as I did, what I found over time, of course, is by trial and error, I found some things that I like and some things that I don't like. And I add the things that I like a little more, and some things I don't like, and I still have them, but I have them a lot less.
Okay.
Because I have to strive for balance in a balanced diet. But
and I love, Jerry, what you're saying, because, I always tell people also that word less, it's not prohibition, but just, some things you'll eat in more quantity and some you'll eat, with more portion control, right? Less.
Right.
That's kind of a magical word, isn't it?
As a personal trainer, what I tell most people is there's no such thing as can't. And even in diet, there's no can't. Just remember that no matter what you eat, there's a price to pay for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, tell us, what, as a conclusion, kind of few tips you would give people who are also, who had a situation like you, or suddenly they're like, hey, they look at themselves in the mirror, okay, I do want to lose weight. How to keep them motivated? What would you give as advice?
Well, so I think to motivate, to keep the weight loss going, is just to, one, be honest with yourself. If you are, you can be dishonest with everyone else, but you have to be honest with yourself. That is the most important thing. And, just a good support group. If you go to the gym, get to know a few people. Doesn't matter whether they're big or small. I found in my years is that most people are supportive. The majority of people, they want to help, but you have to ask for it. Very seldom is someone going to just come to you and offer the help. You have to be willing to get out and reach out. So if you meet the world halfway, then the world will meet you halfway. So to me, that's probably the most important thing is to get out of your shell. I know when I was heavy, when I first started at the gym, I was very introverted. I was scared, although I hate to say the word, but I was afraid. I felt less than when I walked in. Yes. And what I had to realize was that, I was worthy as anyone else that was there. And that, I had to put my health ahead of my ego. Because my ego would kill me.
Right. I love that. And I think, like you're saying, final conclusion of having self-compassion for ourselves, right? Because we're so hard on ourselves, and also we compare ourselves so much to others because there's media marketing, where we have to be all this perfect, right? There's no perfection. So know that we're not human, but love ourselves.
Exactly.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much for this time. I'm just like this emotional person. I just love this story of yours. Thank you so much for this interview.
Well, Tabby, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me here.
And to all of you there, I hope you guys, found out that there's possibilities. There's people out there who are also trying to lose weight and cheering for you, and wishing you guys, like always, a day filled with health and happiness, love, and lots of peace. Have a great day.